A sequence is just a pattern. So this is an introduction to Unit 1, sequences and series. So a sequence is just a pattern in a certain order where each part is called a term. So you don't need to memorize that or anything. It's just an introduction. A sequence is a pattern in a certain order where each part is called a term. These right here are called subscripts. So this is called A sub 1. It's just how you pronounce it. A sub 2, A sub 3. So all this means is that it's the first term. So that 1 is just telling you it's the first term. What do you think the 2 is telling you? It's the second term. What's the 3 telling you? It's the third term. And how could we write that last one? The nth term, okay? So that's how you would write that. So A sub 1 is your first term, A sub 2 is your second term, A sub 3 is your third term, and then that's just saying, obviously, it could go on forever. Okay? Anybody need more time to write? Right. So let's just practice before we actually do any problems. So just with a picture. What's happening in the pattern? Like, what would I need to do in this blank? What would I need to draw? Good. All right, a fourth lollipop. So I need to have 4 lollipops. Very good. Color in the last one. Okay. So that would be the pattern. 4 lollipops, color in the last one. So what would need to go in the last blank? Good. 5 lollipops. And what else do I need to do? Color the last one. Okay. All right, you don't need to write this down, that what I'm about to do in black, you don't need to write. But how could I put that in words? Like if you were telling somebody what the pattern was, what could you say? Okay, add 1, color the last. I like that. Okay, add 1, color the last. Okay, all right, now let's just do one with words. Okay, what's the pattern there? Good, ing, that's one part of the pattern. They have to end in ing. Ah, who said that? AJ? Good. They're in ABC order, okay? All right, so this blank right here. Good. That's so funny. My first period said duckling and my second period said doodling, so it's funny that y'all said both of those. Okay, good. So it starts with a D and it ends in an ing, okay? All right, what about this one? Okay. So it starts with an E, ends in an ing. All right, once again, you don't need to write what's in black right here, but how could you tell somebody what the rule is? ABC order. Okay. Yep. Okay. All right, and finally we'll move to numbers, which, you know, eventually is what we're going to be working with. So 3, 10, 24, and 45. How do you go from 3 to 10? Plus 7. How do you go from 10 to 24? Plus 14. Be careful. 24 to 45. All right, so we're add 7, then we add 14, then we add 21. How are you getting that? Its rules is 7, okay? So this is 7 times 1. What's 14? 7 times 2. What's 21? 7 times 3. So the next one we have to add 28. And again, where does 28 come from? 7 times 4 is how we got 28. Okay, so you may use a calculator if you have one. 45 plus 28. Okay. All right, and Mason, what are we going to add to the next one? Very good. Okay, anybody, 73 plus 35? All right, you don't need to write the rule, but what is the rule? Anybody got a better way to say it? Anybody know what these are called? 7, 14, 21, 28? Yes, good job, Rudy. Add multiples of 7. Good. Okay. All right. Any questions about that? All right, that's just an introduction. I'm not going to be on the quiz. This is what's going to be on the quiz. So, a arithmetic sequence. So that's a vocabulary word that you'll need to know. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the difference between two consecutive terms. So an arithmetic sequence is a sequence where the difference between two consecutive terms is a constant called D, which is the common difference. Okay, so that's kind of mumbo jumbo. Let's put that in easier words. So this word right here, arithmetic sequence, means that you add the same number every time in the pattern. Okay, so that's what that definition boils down to. You add the same number every time. So if it's arithmetic, if you see that word arithmetic, you're adding the same number every time. Okay, so let's do some problems that might appear on the quiz. So, is the given sequence arithmetic? So, are you adding the same number every time? All right, so in your calculators, if you have trouble doing it in your head, in your calculator, you would do 4 minus negative 2 is what you would type in the calculator. You would start here, 4 minus negative 2, and what do you get? What? 6, okay? How do you go from 4 to 10? 6. And from 10 to 16? 6. So here's the question. Is the given sequence arithmetic? Yes, very good. It's a yes or no question. So yes, because I'm adding the same number every time. All right, if so, what is the value of D? What do we think D is? 6. Okay, D is what you're adding. I know. Yep, we're learning. So D is whatever it's adding. Okay? Yep. Okay. B, is the given sequence arithmetic? Let me call on somebody. Sterling, how do you go from 18 to 15? Do you add 3 or subtract 3? Good. Guys, this one has to be negative. It's got to be negative 3. Okay? Ethan, how do you go from 15 to 12? And then Jesse, 12 to 10. All right, so Cheyenne, is this one arithmetic? No, very good. Because it's not the same number. It's not the same number. So the answer to that one is just no. Okay? All right, and our last example right here. An arithmetic sequence has A1 equals 20 and D equals negative 4. What is the fifth term of the sequence? What does A1 equal 20 mean? Very good. First number is 20. What does D equals negative 4 mean? You're going down 4. Very good. So the first term is 20, and we got to get to the fifth term, and we're going down 4. So after 20 would be... Okay. So what is the answer to the question? Okay. All right. Questions on those three? Okay. This next part, if you're somebody who really likes math, then this part is for you. If you're somebody who's just trying to barely pass this class and you don't understand this, it's okay, all right? But I do ask you to stay quiet so other people can pay attention. If you don't understand what I'm about to do, you'll be okay, all right? Consider an arithmetic sequence whose first term is A1 and the common difference is D. Okay, so we've already kind of talked about those two notations. Okay, so A1 is the first term. To get the second term, you take the first term and you add D. So that's how you would write it. So your second term is A1 plus D. Okay? All right, so here's my question to the people who really like math. How could I get the third term? What would I write? How would I get the third term? Very good. A2 plus D. What's another way I could have gotten the third term? Kind of, yes. So I'm going to write it like this to start with, but we're on the same wavelength, all right? So A1 plus D, and then over here I'm going to write it like Jalen said. I'm going to write, I'm going to write A1 plus, how many D's do I have? 2 D's, okay? All right, what's a way to get the fourth term? A3 plus D. Very good. What's another way to get it? All right, for now I'm just going to write D plus D plus D. Y'all are getting ahead of me. And then over here I'm going to write it like y'all just said. So this would be A1 plus, I'm combining these together to what? 3D, okay? If you don't understand any of this, it's okay. I'll tell you when you got to start understanding again. All right, what's another way? What's a way to get the fifth term? A4 plus D, good. What's another way to get it? Start with the first one and add. All right, so add D, 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 and D. All right, and then how do I write it? Shorter? Good. Okay. Okay, so this is showing you how they came up with this formula. So here's the formula. A sub n, which is how you would get any term that they wanted, the 16th term, the 10th term, A sub n equals, if you notice the pattern, you got to start with the first one, A1 plus, and what is the relationship between this number and this number? Very good. The difference is 1. So I'm going to write it as n minus 1, and then I have to put a D at the end. Okay? Another way you could write that formula is you could switch it around, so you could do A sub n equals A1 plus, you could put the D in front, which is actually what we'll do because it's easier, and then n minus 1. All right, this formula will always be a linear equation. That's not important today. It'll be important later. And this is important. Make sure your formula is always completely simplified. Okay, flip your paper over. Here's where you need to tune back in, because this is what is going to be on the quiz, these types of problems. So let's go ahead and write at the top of your paper the formula. You don't need to memorize it, because I'll write it on the board. So you don't need to memorize it, but you need to know how to do the problems. Okay, here we go. A1 is negative 6, D is 7, find the 16th term. So you could start with negative 6 and add 7, and you could do that 16 times until you got the 16th term. You could do it that way, okay? However, it's easier to actually use this formula. It's shorter, okay? So for A sub n, I'm going to put A16. That's how we write it. So the 16th term is actually A16 is how we write it, okay? So A16. What do I put in instead of A sub 1? Negative 6. I'm plugging that straight into the formula. Then I'm going to put a plus. Okay, so for D, don't get ahead of me, hold on. So for D, I'm putting in 7. I'm just plugging in what they gave me. Now here's what we haven't talked about yet. This N is whatever term they want. So N in this case is 16. N is 16. So let's go ahead and do this part in our head. What is 16 minus 1? So that's what I'm going to put in parentheses, okay? If you have a calculator, you can type that straight in, negative 6 plus 7 times 15. If you don't have a calculator, you could always come over here to the side and do 15 times 7. And then you could subtract 6. Okay? So you should be getting 99. So what is 99? The 16th term. Yeah. Okay? All right. Let's do another one. A40 for the sequence negative 9, negative 17, negative 25. So I'm going to put A sub 40 equals, so I'm using my formula. Carter, what goes in for A1? Very good. Negative 9 is your first term. So negative 9 goes in for that. Then I'm going to put a plus. Denise, how do I find out what D is? Yep. Okay, so in your calculator, do negative 17 minus negative 9. That's how you would figure it out in your calculator. Negative 17 minus negative 9. What are you getting? Should be negative 8. Type it in again if you didn't. Negative 17 minus negative 9. All right, and for this one, you get negative 8 too. So D is negative 8. So that's going to go in the D spot. Okay. Laura, what is N in this case? 40. Very good. This is your N right there. N is 40. So let's go ahead and do that in our heads. 40 minus 1, 39. Okay. All right, so you can type all that in your calculator. Anybody already got it? What you got? Yep. Very good. Thank you, Jalen. What is negative 321? The 40th term. Very good. Okay, this one, write the nth term formula for the sequence. So you're just writing the formula. So you're not going to get an answer. Yes. So for this one, we don't know what n is, so we do write an equals. Kendra, what goes in for A1? 8. Good. And then I put a plus. Autumn, how do I figure out what D is? What do I have to do? Very good. So it's adding 9. So D is 9 in this case. Parentheses. And I don't know what N is, so I just put N minus 1. All right, remember, we said it had to be completely simplified, so we can do a couple more steps right there. What should I do? No! Yes. All right, the 9 has to go with the parentheses. So we got to distribute right here. 9 times n, and 9 times negative 1, negative 9. Drop down your 8. Okay? Can I do anything else? What can go together? 8 and negative 9, which is what? Negative 1. What's another answer that would be correct? 9n minus 1. Okay? Either way you want to write it. So that's the answer to that one. Okay? Are we good? Okay. All right. Last 4 examples for today. Last 4. So let me write the formula again. Okay, the 20th term of the sequence is 101, and the common difference is 3. What is the first term? Rudy, what's something they give you? What's something, piece of information they give you? Good. So that means D equals 3. So right here, that's where Rudy got that from. So D is 3. AJ, what's another thing they give you? All right, what are they? They're asking for the what? Okay, so that means we don't know what that one is. That one's a question mark. Cole, what's something else they give you? Yep, so the way we would write that, guys, is A20 equals 101. What about, what is N? 20, very good. It's the subscript, okay? All right, we're going to use this formula again. What do we think we're going to write instead of A sub N? You're both correct. So you could write A20, which let me do it that way first, but if you said 101, you're also correct. But let me do it this way first and show you. So A sub 20, good. Ethan, what goes in for A1? A1. Good, A1. Plus 3 is my D. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a shortcut here. I'm not going to write 20 minus 1. What am I going to write instead of 20 minus 1? 19, okay? Okay. Right here, you can't finish it because you have 2 things that you don't know. But if you look over here, what number haven't we used? 101. So 101 needs to go in what spot? The A20. Okay, so you can do that from the bat, or you can do it as a separate step. I don't care. Okay? But 101 has to get plugged in too. Let's go ahead and multiply those to make our life easier. 3 times 19? 57? Okay. All right. And Dan, what do you think we're going to have to do to get A1 by itself? I said Dan. All right. And what do you get? Good. Okay. B, what is the common difference for the sequence where the first term is 13 and the 28th term is negative 149? Let's see. Pandora, what's something they give you? Good. A1 is 13. Cheyenne, do you want to do something else? Or is that what you were going to say? Okay. Eden, what else do they give you? Okay, so I need to write that A28 is negative 149. Anybody else? Anything else I could add to the list? Very good, Laura. N is 28. Okay. Okay, so N is the, like, it's not going to be the first term. It's going to be the other one. So in this case, it's the 28th. So N is 28. Here, again, it's not going to be the first term. You had the 20th term. So N is whatever this one is. It's not the one. It's the other one. Okay? We good? All right. All right. Let's use the formula and fill in. So, Ashley, help me set it up. So what am I going to write instead of AN? Yes, ma'am. Keep going. Okay. I don't know D, so I'm just going to. Very good. All right. You got this. Okay. Cheyenne, there's still one number in blue that we haven't plugged in. What number is that? Good. What spot can it go in for? So it is, so it's going to go there. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Negative 149 equals 13 plus D parentheses 27. Okay. So in this one, we're trying to get D by itself. So which number has to move first, the 13 or the 27? 13. Very good. You got to move the 13 first because 27 and D are stuck together. So move the 13. How do you get rid of the 13? Subtract it. Okay. And what does this mean? What do parentheses means happening? Multiply. So what's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So you got to divide by 27. So what do you get? All right, C, which term in the of the sequence 159 dot 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 is 97? Jacob, what's one thing you know? What? Very good. D is 4. How did you get that? Anybody? Good. Adding 4. Okay. Anybody else? What's something else we know? A1 is 1. Thank you, whoever said that. Good. Okay, so does anybody know, this is hard, does anybody know what I would put in this spot for what equals 97? So what? Right, we don't know n, so what do I write? Excellent. Okay. All right, so now I think we're ready for the formula. How about Jesse, help me set it up using that. Good. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And I don't know n, so I just have to put n minus 1 because I don't know it. Okay? Okay. Am I going to add 1 and 4? Absolutely not. I'm not going to add 1 and 4. You got a couple things you can do, but you can't add 1 and 4. What do you need to do instead of adding 1 and 4? Good. Rudy, got all this? All right, good. What else do I need to do? All right, I could drop my 1 down. You could move your 1 over if you wanted. There's lots of ways to do it. I don't care how you do it as long as you end up with the right answer. So do we want to move our 1 or do we want to put 1 and negative 4 together? Okay, we'll put them together. So 1 minus 4 is, and I'll drop down the 4 in. So I've put those two together and drop down the 4 in, and I'll bring down the 97. Okay. Austin, what would you need to do next? Good, and it becomes, add the 3. And Ashley, what would you do last? Yep. Good. Okay. Not yet, we got one more. If I can handle it, you can handle it. All right, the 32nd term in the sequence is 534, and the 14th term is 228. What is the 10th term of the sequence? Okay, I've saved the best for last. Okay, what's one thing you know? Good. A32 is 534. What else? Thank you. The 14th term is 228. Okay. This one is different than the other ones we've done, okay? When there is a gap, or when they've given you two random ones, you're going to have to do a system of equations. I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So whenever there's a gap like that, you have to do a system of equations. System of equations just means you're going to have two of them instead of one, okay? So let me show you what that looks like. So this is step one. Okay, so step one. All right, I'm going to plug this into the formula first. I'm going to plug this information into the formula first. So for AN, I'm going to put in 534 equals, do I know what A1 is? Nope. Plus, do I know what D is? Nope. But I do know what N is for this top, for 534. What is N? 32. So let's go ahead and do 32 minus 1. Okay. Okay. Now, my system of equations means I have to have a second equation. My second equation is going to be this information. So I'm going to put in 228 this time. I'm going to write it right underneath. 228 equals, do I know what A1 is? So I write A1. Do I know what D is? Nope. Okay, now look for this one. N has changed because it's a separate equation. Kinda, yes. So N is 14, but when you subtract 1, it gives you 13. Yes. Okay. Okay. It's okay if you don't, but does anybody remember what you do with those? You could, but you'd have to move some stuff around, so there's an easier way to do it. That's one way to do a system. You have to do something with those. Okay, here's what you do. You subtract them. You subtract them. So we need to do 534 minus 228. Anybody? Okay. A1, take away A1, they cancel. That's why we did that. A1, take away A1 cancels. No, because they're stuck with these. Okay. So 31 minus 13. And, sorry, I forgot my D. I'm going to put it right there, but you can put it in front too. It doesn't matter where you put it. Okay. Dan, what do you think you're going to do next to get D by itself? How do you get rid of the 18? Very good. All right, anybody? What does that give you? Okay, so D is 17. Okay, here's why this problem is horrendous. What are they asking for? The 10th term. Have we found that yet? No. Okay, so you've got to take this and plug it back into this top equation. So I'm going to write 534 equals, do I know what A1 is? No, I still don't know what A1 is. Plus, do I know what D is now? Yes. What is D? 17, parentheses, 31. Okay. Okay, so here I can get A1 by itself. I need to multiply 17 and 31. I need to multiply those. What is it? Okay. And Cole, what else do I need to do? Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, what does that give me? Okay, have we answered their question? Oh, woo! Killing me, killing me, killing me. Okay, so we're still trying to find the 10th term. What am I going to do for that? No. Yeah, but remember, 7 is the first term. Anybody know what I could use to find the 10th term? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so let's, yes, what y'all are saying is correct. So I'm going to point people back up to this one. So A sub 10, we know what A1 is now. What is A1? 7 plus, I know what D is now. 17. And what is N for this one? 10 minus 1, which is 9. And you can type all that in your calculator. Hey. Anybody? What you got? What?